another live session because I have several interviews today, and I don't know that I'll be able to create this additional video, so I just thought I would create it live. I want to do it live just because it's raw, no editing, no music, nothing of that. But this is going to be for our Landlord Stories series. And this one is going to have to be doing with raising rent, right? That's a topic us landlords should think about, right? If you're new to the game, a lot of the kind of talking heads about real estate investing, just sort of treat it like an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, raise 50 bucks every year or 25 or whatever it is for you. They treat it like rent increases don't have a downside, right? Rent increases have a downside, right? It's an event in your tenant's life that forces a decision, right? And I don't think enough people talk about this. Rent increases are, it's one of those things you as a landlord need to think about, right? It is not as easy as most people talk about it. So we have had houses and apartments for a long time now, so I thought we would just talk about raising rents. We've been doing it in good markets and in bad, and it's just time somebody should just give you the experience. So first off, we're going to talk about market cycles, just the general trend for rent increases. And then we're going to talk about single family homes and then apartments. Okay. So first off, morning. How you doing? I'm glad you like this. Oh wow, 15 units. Congratulations. That's meaningful. So rent increases. So think about the last 20 years, right? When do you think was the best time to raise rents, and when was the worst time, right? And for most people that I talk to, right, who don't own rentals yet, they kind of get it wrong, right? Frankly, the best time to raise rents have been the last 18 months. The economy is soaring, unemployment is at 3.5. The lack of affordable housing pretty much all over the US is real, it's meaningful. We have seen rent over the last 3 years, like for example, go from 650, 675 on a two-bedroom, one-bath apartment to 800. We have seen houses go from like a three-bedroom, two-bath, two-car garage from like 1,200 to 1,400, right, over 3 years. Uh, that's been the best time to raise rents. The worst time was kind of like 2007. 2007 was a horrible time to be a landlord. Just horrible. No rent growth. We had seen no rent growth for 3 years, 2 years, at least 2 years, like '06, '07. Couldn't raise rents, or if you did, you were dumb. Because what happened is tenants needed first month's deposit or first month's rent and deposit. And what we were seeing in 2007 is people could get into houses for less than that, right? They were no longer doing 3.5% down. People were getting in, they were moving into houses and getting checks at closing. That's how stupid the lending was. So being a landlord in '07 was not good. And it was not good in apartments and not good in housing because anybody who was willing to lie on an application could get a loan. That's how bad it was. And I don't think many people appreciate that. Many people look back at '07 and think real estate was hot and that being a landlord was great. It wasn't. And it was really bad because all these talking heads are lying to you. What kills landlords are unit turns. Right? I don't care how clean the tenants leave it. If they've been there more than a year, you're spending likely thousands of dollars. Now, if you do the labor yourself, take that out. But if you know our story, we live too far away from our units, so we could never do the cleaning, right, deep cleaning ourselves, and frankly wouldn't. Um, but that's what kills landlords are turns. So if you're in a market where you're raising rents and you're causing a decision by the tenant and the market is soft, don't do it, right? Simply don't raise rents because what they're going to say in a soft market is, nope, we'll pack up and move. Yes, that will cost them something. It will cost them hundreds of dollars likely to move, but they'll get friends and get somebody's pickup truck and they'll move from point A to point B and they'll be good. Good morning. So in a soft market, be careful. Don't do that, right? If you were to raise rents in a fourplex, 50 bucks or 25 bucks in a soft market, you're going to lose half your tenants. And there goes your cash flow for the year. That's again what these people don't get is if you have one unexpected or forced unit turn that's not in your model, you've lost cash flow for the entire year. And if you have two, you're losing money, right? You've created an alligator, which is something we talk about in our book, right? One rental at a time. Don't do that. So the other thing you need to think about is raising rents in houses versus apartments, right? So first and foremost, you should be thinking about the averages, and I can only speak to the averages for our market, right? Our average single-family house tenant stays 5 years or more. Our average in apartments is, depending on the year, right around 2 years, right? In addition, it is cheaper, right? Because there's less stuff, usually, in an apartment building to move than a house. Also, people like to upgrade, right? They like to move from apartments to houses. They don't like to downsize from a house to an apartment, generally speaking. So these are the things that you need to pay special attention to, right? Everybody treats unit turns the same. They're absolutely not the same, right? Unit turns happen more frequently, and I have the numbers to back it up, in apartments than they do in houses. Everybody, if you live paycheck to paycheck and that's what you're used to, your goal most of the time is to get to a house. So you can have a backyard, you can have stuff for your cars. If you can get a garage, all the better. It's just it's not a judgment, it's just a fact. So those are things that you need to pay attention to, right? If you're a landlord raising rents in a market where home ownership is taking off, you need to be careful because you're going to have tenants look at that rent increase and go, wow, well, if we were really to buy that brand new house over there or this house on that street, our payment would be close to the same. And I think that's where we're going. I really wanted to talk about this raising rent story because I think over the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to see this good economy. We're going to see relaxed lending standards, more lending programs, and we're going to see home ownership tick up. Look at the home ownership numbers over the last decade or so. I believe from memory, they started out around 67% at the peak. Obviously, the Great Recession or real estate depression or whatever you call it caused lots of people to lose their homes. I think it bottomed around 62%, which may not sound like a big percentage, 5 points, but in the quantities we're talking about, it's huge. I think that's going to start ticking up. I think home ownership's going to go from the low 60s to the mid 60s. But what does that mean to landlords? Well, that means you're all going to lose some tenants. Tenants are going to move from being rental tenants to owners, which is a great thing, right? Home ownership is a great thing. For most people, that is where wealth is created, long-term wealth, assuming you could hold on to it. And I think that's going to happen. Rates have threes on them. When we started, we were paying in the sevens, right? Interest rates are half what they used to be. Prices in some markets are just absurd. Bay Area, insert Bay Area. But most of the US is not absurd, right? So I just think I think most new most new investors in multifamily specifically are not looking far enough into the future and they're not forecasting enough tenant turnover. I think by 2022, 2023, we're going to see home ownership back to the mid 60s, and that is going to cause apartment vacancies to skyrocket. Again, I've been very clear, and I started this off. The best time to raise rents have been the last 18 months. I suspect by 2022, we are going to be back to something similar to '06 and '07, which was a horrible time to be a landlord because people were looking at buying a home versus being rentals. And it's kind of what you would expect to happen, right? The economy is so strong, jobs are good, wages are finally ticking up. If the lending programs get as easy or soft as I see them coming, we're gonna lose tenants. So at the end, this landlord story is to appreciate the market cycle, appreciate the differences between apartments and houses. And remember, somebody moving from one of your rental units and becoming a homeowner should be celebrated. That is a great thing for the economy. It's a great thing for their family. So if you're looking to buy something, make sure you visit the vacancy numbers and tenant turnover because that's what's going to kill you. I think most people talking about being a landlord today or an investor today started in the last 5 to 8 years and they haven't experienced a bad market. And don't just forecast rent growth forever. It's not going to happen. The market's going to change. Homeownership's going to step up, and we're going to have vacancies and turnovers again. So, thanks for watching. Again, I like doing these live, so I don't feel bad about not editing and no music and no walkout stuff. We just do it and have fun. All right, everybody, take care. Enjoy.